When I first met Meneer Baikies here, he asked me, why were we paired together? I'm like Francois, my parents were also teachers. My mother was a headmistress, my father was an ancient Greek teacher, and my mother taught geography. And I felt like now I was back to being interrogated. Have you done your homework? And I think my answer to you was, things happen for a reason, have faith. And it's a road of faith that we walk together. And I feel that I've benefited a lot from this. I know for Nicky, maybe I've been like this naughty school child, always late with his homework. But I think we pull through together at long last. So to kick off, maybe best for Meneer Baikies to introduce Blue Mountains Primary.
To be more specific, the question wasn't why, but more how will we pair together? Because when I got to Oudtshoorn, that's where we had our first meeting, I discovered that all the partners have met, but the two of us have never met. So when I went there not knowing who my partner was, and I was like, now who is my partner? I walked in there and I discovered that I was actually early, so I was one of the first people to be there. My partner wasn't there, so everybody who walked in was like, is this my partner? Is this my partner? And in walked Patrice, and when he identified himself, I said, you are my partner. And then we had a very good discussion, and we got to know each other. About the school. Blue Mountains Primary, unlike the rest of your schools, is a very small school. It's a farm school. I come from a city school, a very big city school. So when I got there, and after I was appointed, the people were like, do you know what happens at the rural school? I said, no. Do you want to know? I said, I'll find out. And thus started a year, or my first year last year, full of uncertainties, but I always said full of possibilities as well. And it was a very taxing year. The first 3 months rather, was extremely difficult. Problems and problems and more problems. I think at our very first meeting, A Time to Think, I was one of the people who probably complained the most. Yes. And in as much that they had to form a special circle to listen to all the problems that I have encountered. And amazingly, there was so much advice that I took to heart, that I used, and today I can proudly say that our school has changed for the better in more ways than one. You want to say something?
Yes, I just want to just iron out a few things. The first meeting I had with Albert, I think we know each other well now to say that, he told me, I don't have to do anything. He doesn't want the big money from Sanlam, the big support system. Actually, I must leave the whole corporate machinery behind. I must just listen to him. I was thinking, this is a breeze. This is like going to school and having no homework. That was the first meeting. Then in the second meeting, when we started putting our plan together, he says he's got a few things he'd like to achieve over the next year. And then, ladies and gentlemen, it started. Doesn't need money, but there were certain things which he would like to have the financial resource to be able to make the life of the children better. And I thought, how does that tie with not needing money? The other thing was, he had small goals initially, which was educational, but then it grew bigger. He wanted to influence the whole community and get them to buy into the school. And I was thinking, but this is getting like quite big, hairy, and audacious. Then it was not only changing the educational results of the school, but making an impact on this whole social infrastructure around the school. And then I was sinking deeper and deeper in my chair, thinking, now, how are we going to do all this? Then he started telling me about the teachers, the issues he was having, about the Western Cape Education Department. after that second meeting, I was thinking, I deal with a lot of CEOs of listed companies, but these type of problems I haven't heard before. So I think from that starting point, I think it was as much of a learning experience and having to hold on tight to Albert in order to climb that mountain and to reach to the top. And I think now I'm quite proud to say we are at the top and we can look down to what we have conquered after the last year.
I think that my partner is making it sound as if I was very harsh. I was very gentle actually, but I did say what I said, but in a very gentle way. Anyway, one of the core things, like you said, we wanted to achieve was to get involvement in the community. Now, why I did say to him I don't want money was simply because our school at that point didn't need money, but I had a hidden agenda that I told him afterwards about. I knew that once we got the community involved, the money would come. Are you with me? So I said, Patrice, don't worry about the money. All I need you to help me with is how to get the community involved in the school. That was the first task that I presented before him, getting the community involved. The second one was how to get the learner, improve the learner results. That was the second one. And the last one was transportation. Now at our school, can I say almost 90% of the school learners are imported from outside. In other words, they have to be bussed in. In the farm area, there's only a few farmhouses. So most of the learners come from a place which is about 18 kilometers away from where our school is situated. And like our previous speaker said, the absenteeism rate at our school was extremely high because they would either not be able to afford to pay the bus or the taxi, and what happens next? Stay at home. That's how we overcome the financial burden. So the school would be empty sometimes, not empty, but lots of learners would be absent. So this was a big problem for me. And apparently the previous principal tried on numerous occasions to get transport for the kid from the department, and nothing happening. This was the department's response. Do you have any IMG managers here tonight? I must be careful. None? Okay. If there are, they can. It doesn't matter. The department responded by saying, sorry, to get to your school, the learners pass 2 or 3 other schools. Now when that happens, rest assured, you will not get transportation from the department. This started our fight with the department. Letter after letter, pestering them, bothering them, refusing to accept a no for an answer. This year, the beginning of this year, we had our 3 buses. And all the kids now get free transportation to school and away from school. So we have achieved one of the major goals that we tried to reach. The second one was the community involvement. I had to think of a way, or we had to think of a way rather, how are we going to get the community involved? And I spoke to many people. And then Patrice and I came up with the idea of, what about a golf day? But make it a golf day for businessmen. In other words, not families, not parents, for business people. So started a hard task of getting business people involved in the school. Where did we start? In our school, we have a teacher whose father is a businessman. And I thought, aha, this is where we are going to start. I called her in, I said, I've got something that you must do for us. Yes, sir. I said, you are going to spearhead our golf day. She looked at me, okay, not knowing what it entailed. And believe me, last week, or was it this past week?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday, we had our golf day. It took us 9 months to plan. But it was a great success. Why do I say success? We didn't make much money. And apparently on your first golf day, you don't make that much money. But we almost filled the whole golf course, entirely made out of business people. And the most interesting part was I was able to interact with each one of them. And what we achieved, what we planned to achieve, we achieved. We got so much commitment that this year, the blessings of 9 months of planning is going to roll in. Or not this year, next year rather. And I believe our school is preparing itself for great things to happen.
When we first started off, Albert and I were like golfers without any handicap. And then we had to face up to go and play on the golf course. After a year of practice, we're still not that great. But I think last Thursday we scored a few birdies, eagles. Even if we don't know where to stand on that tee, you can see we tried our best there to score a few points for the school.
Okay, and then maybe lastly I want to mention here tonight, because we have a video we want to show you as well, is that it's amazing how we have achieved our goal of getting the community involved. If I tell you how many calls I answer every day from the community of people who never knew about our school, asking, how can we help? So all the calls I'm getting these days is, how can we help? I think that was goal achieved. And so Patrice, I would like to thank you for what you have played, or the part you have played in our school being successful up to this point.
You. I think we want to show this video.
Yes, please.
Quickly.
There are many other things. Oh yes, by the way, something else I have to tell you.
Yeah.
We are a farm school, isn't that so? 212 learners.
Yeah.
But this year, and I must brag about this, I'm sorry. This year, we managed to place in every classroom an interactive whiteboard, sponsored by business people within the community. Isn't that good? And in closing, I would like to say to Partners for Possibility, thank you for giving Patrice to me as a partner. It really benefited our school tremendously, and I would like to show my appreciation by handing him this small token. Thank you, Patrice. You did very, very well. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I said to Nikki, Albert and I are very in sync even when we don't talk. So I thought I'd be the one surprising him. But he's a very difficult person to find out about his hobbies. He tries to keep it quiet. So I did find out from his lovely wife. I found out that you're also a fisher of men. So I thought I'd give you something which you'll find quite useful for your hobby. So we didn't quite manage to surprise each other, but we were in sync.
Thank you, Patrice. Thank you.
That's for you.